Okay, so first things first, some basic logic operators in STATA. So I'm just going to use display, which is just tell STATA like show the result of this, and we'll show just a basic logic operator here. So this is saying, hey, STATA is 2 greater than 1, and STATA will say 1 if it's true and 0 if it's false. So it gives us a 1 there. If we did 1 greater than 2, it would give us a 0. If we want to do a greater than or equal, that's how I write it. So that's going to be a true. An important point that doesn't occur to everybody, or that, let me put it differently. Important point that people struggle with when they start with STATA is the difference between an equal sign, a double equal sign, and an equal sign. So whereas typically we think of there as just being one equal sign in STATA, and the way STATA like interprets the things you tell it, these things mean two different things, right? So the 2 equal sign is a way of telling STATA, tell me whether this thing over here equals this thing over here, right? Is this the same as that, right? That's the double equal sign. So if you're doing some sort of logic operator, right? If you want to know, hey, STATA, you know, does 1 equal 2, you do it this way, right? And STATA tells you no. If you want to know, if you're telling STATA to set some variable to be something else, right? So, say, you know, create this variable x and set it equal to 1, then you're going to use the single equal sign, right? But if you throw a single equal sign in here, you say, hey, is 1 equal to 2? STATA doesn't understand that, right? You got to speak in STATA's language, right? You got to translate your human speak into machine speak, right? And the syntax is wrong, so STATA has no idea what you're talking about. Like STATA's not going to be like, oh, well, that's like pretty close to the 2 equal sign. You probably meant that. There's none of that. You got to say exactly what you mean in the language STATA STATA can interpret. Okay, so there's a difference in those equal signs. If you want to do not equal, you can do an exclamation point. That's like saying this does not, does it, like, is it true, like, is it true that 2 does not equal 1 is what that's saying, and STATA says yes, that's true. Okay, you can also combine these sort of logic statements. You can do an and you can do an or, right? So if you ask STATA, is 2 greater than 1 and 1 greater than 2, STATA's going to say no. If you ask it, is 2 greater than 1 or 1 greater than 2, it's going to say yes, because one of those things is true. Okay, little syntax. So here's our or. It's like the straight up bar, and is the ampersand.